Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be responding to people's assumptions about me. I'm sure most of you guys have seen a bunch of these videos on YouTube recently. I think Avery Ovard was the first person to make a video like this, so kudos to her for coming up with a great video idea. In most of the videos that I've seen, people usually ask on Instagram for people's assumptions about them, and then they go through and read them and react to them. And I thought about doing that, but the more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense to me. I feel like with Instagram, your name's attached to it, and nobody's really going to be honest to you and give you real assumptions. I think if you have a bigger account, it would work a lot better because obviously those people don't know you in real life. But I don't really have that many Instagram followers. I feel like everybody who follows me on Instagram probably knows me in real life. So I just felt like the assumptions that I would get on Instagram wouldn't be honest. So instead of using Instagram, I came up with a list of 10 assumptions that I have faced in real life. These are actual things that people have assumed about me that I have dealt with, and let me tell you, it's not always fun. Assumptions can really suck sometimes, especially if they're negative, so hopefully this video encourages you not to make any negative assumptions of people before getting to know them. So without further ado, let's get into the assumptions. Assumption number 1 is that people think that I am a lot younger than I am. I just turned 20, which is super cool. I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm slowly transitioning into my adult life, but most people still think I'm around 15 or 16. I think a lot of it is because of my height. I'm pretty short. I'm about 5'1", 5'2"-ish. And my mom's short, my aunt's short, my grandma's short. We're just a short family. But it kind of makes me sad sometimes. Like, I want to be treated like a 20-year-old even though I'm short, okay? I help run a club at a local middle school, and I am literally the height of all the girls in the club. And on top of my height, I think just facially, I look pretty young too. I don't know, I guess some people just physically look older or younger. And as of right now, it sucks looking younger than I actually am. Obviously, at this time in my life, I want to be treated as an adult and taken seriously. But when I talk about this with my mom and my aunt and my grandma, they all tell me it's a huge blessing later in life. According to them, once you hit a certain age, looking young is a compliment. So yeah, I'll just have to patiently wait till those days, but for the record, I am 20 years old. Assumption number 2 is that my college major is easy. My major is digital communications, so this involves graphic design, computer coding, business classes, that sort of stuff. And believe it or not, I've had a lot of people hint that my college major is easy. And that assumption really bothers me because I work really hard, and so do all the other people in my major. Yes, my major is different than other majors. We may not have tests on 10 chapters at a time. But just because we don't have huge tests and I'm not up studying all night long, it doesn't mean I don't work hard. In fact, a lot of people switch into my major after switching out of another major because it was too hard. And then they end up realizing that my major is just as hard. So it's definitely not an easy major. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it, even though we don't have a lot of huge tests. Another assumption that I have faced quite a bit is that I am missing out on the college experience by living at home. For those of you who don't know, I do live at home and then I just drive to school when I have class. And a lot of people have seriously critiqued me on this. Whether it be my peers or even my advisors at school, everybody seems to think that I'm missing out on something. But in reality, living in a dorm isn't for everyone. I have absolutely zero desire to live on campus. And just because I don't live on campus doesn't mean I'm not involved. I'm involved with sports, I'm a peer tutor, I have friends, I eat dinner and lunch there sometimes. So just because I don't live there and sleep there doesn't mean I'm not there often. I'm there almost every day. And I heard a lot of people say that college students need to get out, live in a dorm, be independent, which I agree is totally right for some kids. But for me, I feel that I'm perfectly independent living here at home. I do my own thing, I come and go as I wish, and this is kind of my safe place and somewhere to come sleep. So I guess moral of the story, if anybody is pressuring you into living in a dorm, please don't feel like you have to. I'm on campus all the time. I have so many friends that I absolutely love, and I can truly say that I really don't feel like I'm missing out on anything from not living on campus. Assumption number 4 is that people think that I have a lot of free time. This is something that bothers me a lot. If people think that I'm just laying around doing nothing or that I'm lazy, it drives me insane. I work so hard and a lot of kids my age don't really understand that. I have classes, I'm a peer tutor, I babysit for 3 different families, and I work at a local amusement park. That's also not including spending time with friends, spending time with family, doing homework, taking care of myself, filming YouTube videos. I feel like I barely have time to breathe sometimes. So when people just assume I'm always free or assume because I make YouTube videos that I must have all the time in the world, it's just totally not the case. And I think a lot of it does have to do with like the fact that I film YouTube videos. They think, oh, she must be bored, so she's making videos. When in reality, I have to make time to sit down and film videos. But I do it because it's something that I love, it's something I have a passion for, and it kind of goes in with that self-care thing. This is my way of taking time for myself. So yeah, I am a very busy person and I really don't have very much free time. Number 5, people think that I am a goody good because I get good grades. Now don't get me wrong, I am a good person. I don't party, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that stuff. But I mean, people take it to like an extreme. I mentioned that I didn't feel like going to class one day, and this person acted like it was the end of the world. And I'm here like, it's just, you know, skipping a class, like it's not really a big deal. And then they were like, but you just really don't seem like the person to skip, like you have such good grades. And I'm like, yeah, I do get good grades, but I'm not perfect, I'm not an angel. Sometimes I want to sleep in and skip an 8 a.m. Like, it is what it is. I don't know, I just feel like people really judge you based on your grades. And although, yes, I am a good person, yes, I'm a good student, yes, I'm respectful, all of those things, I'm not a perfect angel. Nobody is. Even though I get good grades, I'm just like anybody else. If you get good grades and people think you're some perfect angel, comment down below. Number 6 is people assume that I don't have fun or that I'm not fun because I don't party or smoke or drink or any of that stuff. And this one, more than any, just makes me laugh because I have such an amazing time with my friends without any of that stuff. And in my heart, I know that I'm a fun person, so this one really doesn't bother me. But I feel like it's something that I do get a lot. It's just that I choose to live my life without that stuff. It's just how it is. I feel like I can have fun without it. I don't need it. I don't really want it. So that's just how it is. And another thing is, I feel like people often think that I judge people who do participate in that kind of stuff, when in reality, I could care less. Yes, I personally choose not to do it. It's not what I want in my life. But if that's what you want, you do you. It's one of those things where like, I don't judge you for doing it, so don't judge me for not doing it. I don't know, it's a sensitive subject, but I guess what I'm trying to say is just because I don't do it doesn't mean that I'm not fun, because I am fun, and it also doesn't mean that I judge people who do it. Assumption number 7 is also kind of a funny one. It's that people assume that I only listen to one type of music. And typically they assume that the music is pop. I specifically remember this one time I was in Spanish class and my teacher asked who listens to rap music. So I raised my hand because I do. I don't quite as much anymore, but at that point in my life I really did listen to it frequently. There was a bunch of other people in the room who raised their hand, but my teacher looks right at me and goes, "Put your hand down, you don't listen to rap." And in that moment, I was so offended. I was like, what do you mean I don't listen to it? I'm telling you I listen to it. How would you know if I listen to it or not? So that was just a really raw and wrong assumption, just based on, I guess, my appearance. I guess I just looked like a basic white girl who wouldn't really listen to rap music. I don't know. So yeah, that was quite an annoying assumption. From pop to country to rap, I'll pretty much listen to anything. So yeah, it's pretty rude to just assume what people listen to based on how they look, so try not to do that. Number 8 is also kind of a funny one as well. People assume that the aesthetic of my bedroom matches the way that I dress. And it's really funny because my bedroom and my decor style is severely different than how I dress. I dress pretty chill, pretty sporty. I don't really dress up like at all ever. Probably the most typical outfit for me is a hoodie, some ripped jeans, and a pair of Converse. But I feel like by looking at my filming backgrounds or my aesthetic, people assume that I'm pretty girly. And it's just kind of funny because I'm not. But as far as my aesthetic goes, what I like to see in my room, what I like to fill my environment with, it is a lot of pastel colors, basic things like Polaroids and plants. But just because that's what I like to visually see and that's what my room looks like, it definitely doesn't mean that that's how I'm gonna dress or that that's how my personality is, because I'm really not the girliest person that you'll ever meet. Assumption number 9 is a pretty big one, and it is that people assume that I am rich. I tend to get defensive over this assumption simply because my parents worked so extremely hard for everything that my family has, and I feel like the word rich has such a negative connotation, so I don't want people to ever think my family's rich because my parents work so hard. My family is financially stable, we have everything we need and some more, but by no means are we rich. I don't get everything I want. If you saw my what I got for Christmas haul, I got my first pair of Uggs ever and I was so so happy and so grateful. And just saying, but I feel like if I was rich, I'd have a pair of Uggs younger than 20 years old. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't get, especially as a child, because it was too expensive. My parents taught me at a young age how to be frugal and how to save money, and we're just happy with what we have. As you can see, I'm wearing an Old Navy sweatshirt. I'm sure there's probably some people that would never be caught dead wearing something that said Old Navy on it. But brand names and material items just really aren't that important to my family. So yes, my family is financially stable. Yes, we have all the things we need. Yes, we have a nice house, but we are by no means rich. I don't get everything I want. I buy a lot of my stuff on my own. So yeah, I think a lot of times when I first bring people to my house, or even if they just see my bedroom, they're like, oh my gosh, like you live in such a nice house, your family must be rich. And that really is just not the case. In fact, the only reason why we have this house is because this house used to be my grandpa's house. So this was the house that my mom and her siblings grew up in. And once my grandpa was ready to downsize and move out of this house, my mom wanted to keep the house in the family, so we bought it. So yeah, I'm super blessed to have everything that I have. I'm so thankful that I have everything that I need. But I'm not rich, I don't get everything that I want, but I'm perfectly okay with that. I have my family, and that's all I need. The last assumption, the big one that most people say, is that people assume that my life is perfect. This one is just so far from the truth. Nobody's life is perfect. We all have struggles whether we publicize them or not. What I upload to social media or YouTube or how I present myself in public does not always reflect how I'm feeling inside. I deal with anxiety, and that isn't something that someone would know just by looking at me, but it's something really hard that I deal with on a daily basis. Or the fact that 2 of my cousins live on the West Coast. They come over to the East Coast and live with us during the summer, and then they go back to the West Coast for the school year. And my family is very, very close-knit, so when they're not here, there's like a whole gap in my heart missing. So I mean, ideally, if my life was perfect, they'd live here. And I could go on and on about all the things that aren't perfect about my life, but what I really try to do is focus on the things that I do have in my life and how grateful and blessed I am. And it really does help to focus on the positives rather than the negatives. So if you're ever thinking that, oh man, my life just sucks, try to remember all the great things that you do have. Always remember that if you see someone and you're thinking to yourself that their life looks so perfect, it's not. I promise you, it's not. Everybody has their battles. But you know what? That's something that we all have in common. And I think it's something we can all bond over. We can take something negative and turn it into a positive community who supports one another. So with that being said, if your life ever feels like it sucks, like it's not even close to perfect, feel free to leave me a comment, talk it out with me. I'll support you. Hopefully other people in the comments will support you. And then we'll just be a big happy family. Everybody goes through hard times, and we gotta get through them together. That's all I got for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about me in this video, and hopefully you learned not to assume things about people. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys next week.